What's up, fam? It's Nick here. Really important topic today. Follow along, subscribe, ask questions in the comments. I'm going to go through a sales topic that all of you need to know and every single person will do in the next probably 30 days. It is called an actionable follow-up process. What does that mean? How do we make follow-up appointments with our prospects to either add on to our sales, close our sales, or to make sure our retention is outstanding? What does that mean? So number one, most products, depending on what you sell, should be decided on and bought the first time you meet the salesperson. 80% of your decisions should be made the first time they come up. Sometimes that's not possible. If you sell like an enterprise solution, you sell big software, you sell a big service, you sell business to business, normally you're not going to be able to meet all the decision makers at one time. Completely understandable. That means you need to do this. You need to have an actionable plan to follow up so that you are making progress in the sale. Second, you also need to be able to make sure that your retention stays up. That follow-up process keeps you in contact and in top of mind of that client so that when they think of your product, they think of you, not someone else or an ad or some marketing that they saw. They're not easily swayed because you're at the top of mind. So I'm going to come back to the first point, like I said, actionable follow-up. So say you're selling a big, product, a big system, big ticket. You're selling $1 million software solution. You're probably not going to meet with the purchasing officer, the CFO, and the CIO all at the same time in the same day, unless you've set up those meetings and have them meet together for like a melding of the minds. And then they have to send that off to some corporate, fairy tale land that no one's ever heard of to get a stamp of approval from someone that you'll never meet anyway. Why do we have to do this? It's called a corporate process. Happens all the time. Nobody can just spend money on a whim. You know that as an educated salesperson, so you have to have actionable follow-up steps. What we do, step one, once you've made a contact, you then have to determine where that contact is in the buying process. With homeowners, it's very easy. They're the people buying it. I know they're going to make the decision when I'm there 99% of the time. You're in the corporate world right now. You have to figure out where they are in the pecking order and where they stand in the ability to make this decision. If they say, oh yeah, that sounds great. I'm interested in this. I'm a person on a team that decides this. Great. Who else is on the team that decides this? Can I have their names and information? All you have to do is ask for it. Even if they just give you the names, you can use LinkedIn and figure out who you need to reach out to. But what you want to do with that person is always say, okay, great. I definitely want to talk to you about this further. I'd love to do a demonstration or whatever, kind of pitch that you do. Go to their office, do it virtually, whatever. But before that meeting's even over, you want to have built in when your next meeting is going to be. Meaning you say, all right, glad we've got to show you the demo of how our product works. It's awesome. Let's talk next week. Which days do you have available? I can do Wednesday or Friday. I can either do in the morning or afternoon. Which ones are you guys? More afternoon or morning guys or girls, whoever you're talking to. And they're going to say, probably afternoons. And you say, Wednesday, Friday, which day is better? And if they say, okay, let's do Friday afternoon, perfect. Let me put you down Friday afternoon. Send the calendar invite while you're literally talking to them so you know they got it. Yep, I'll send that over to you. Also invite, XYZ, whoever important that has to make this fucking choice. Invite them as well if you can get their name or tell them to invite them. Very simple. Your idea is to set up your next meeting while you're there in front of them so you can put it on the calendar. So how I do this in the home when I'm selling Medicare or final expense, I have to set up a separate appointment. It's very simple. I just say, okay, Betty, we just talked about your final expense today. You saw I'm wearing this big button that says, ask me about Medicare. You asked me, I'm a licensed Medicare person. It's awesome. Let me schedule a time with you next week. Best I can do is Monday. And are you a morning or an evening person? Well, I know Betty's retired, so she's got shit to do anyway. She's probably going to say, I can do around 10 because I don't get up early. Perfect, Betty. I'll be here right around 10:30. Does that work for you? Perfect. I literally walk over to her calendar and I write, Nick, 10:30, be home. Circle it. Type it into my phone. I text it to her cell phone. She can't text me back, but she can see that message. I write it on the paper. I leave her a big paper. I write it right on there and say, I'll be back. Perfect. I've set up my follow-up. I already know. Then from there, my second meeting follow-up, I have a next step. I put her in my CRM. I start my drip campaign. I start my voicemail campaign. I start my text campaign. She will know who I am every single month. Something will be hitting her door or her phone or her house from me saying, it's Nick, your awesome insurance agent. You can do the same thing no matter what you sell. And you want to have that level of relationship. Even if you aren't actually talking to these people, you want them to think about you every time they think of whatever you sell. You sell roofs, that you want to think of you. You sell software, I'm thinking of this guy. You think insurance, you're thinking me, Nick. Very simple. That way, you can ask them for referrals when the time comes. Because then they've already seen you do your job, you keep your word, you're on the top of their brain, you're following up, you're doing the right things. This follow-up process is so easy. The secret is, like I said, make the next appointment while you're there with them. Period. Make the next appointment. When you're in instant contact, you're now at the top of this person's brain. They are talking to you. They are thinking about what you're talking about. Say to them, hey, Johnny, we had a great meeting today. It was an awesome demo. Before I let you go, I'd like to schedule the next time with you. And if they say, oh, no, we'll email you. Say, no, I understand. I got my calendar open right now. Open yours up so we can get this on the books. My calendar fills up super fast, and I'd hate to forget everything we just talked about. Force it on them a little bit. Don't let them control the rhetoric. Oh, we'll email you back. No, we won't. We will email you right now, and we will get this figured out right fucking now. Today, not tomorrow. Period. And you have to have that attitude. You don't need to be shitty, but be strong. You just did a great presentation. You're doing your job. You're interested in helping them. Why wouldn't they take the meeting from you? Most people are going to say yes. They're going to take the meeting. Very simple. Particularly if you sell person to person, it's very easy. Very, very simple. Sometimes I'll just say it like this. Hey, Betty, next week, I'll be in the neighborhood Monday. Will you be home most of the day Monday? Okay, great. Probably in the afternoon. That's when you're going to see me, probably between 2 and 4. Does that work for you? And I write it down, between 2 and 4. Betty, be home. Nick needs to meet you. Very important. Circle, circle, circle. Here's your Post-it. I'll put it right on her forehead if I have to. Very simple. Set your meeting and then be there. Do it. They set the meeting, you do the Zoom call, they don't show up. Well, then you can say, oh my God, it looks like you missed our Zoom call. No problem. Send them another email and another invite. We'll get you rescheduled. Send it to someone else in their office. If you can, jump the chain. That's one of my most favorite things to do when you're dealing with the corporate world is, there is a chain of command. And what happens is when someone drops the ball in the chain of command, you go to the next level and then that person's interested. The person below them now starts paying attention real freaking quick. It's very simple. Think outside the box. Always set that meeting up. You want to have your systems and processes to funnel them, and you want them literally to be a chain, a strong chain. Everything is the chain. We go to one event, we go on to the next. Very simple. Always keep that in the back of your mind. Even if you can't sell them today, if you don't have the next meeting, you're not going to sell them. One of the most important things I ever learned in home improvements was this. If you go out and meet a person and they are not there or whatever, the husband, wife, if one party's there and the other one isn't and it's a one-call close, if you can, and I don't recommend this all the time, but certain situations need it. For example, one time in my life I sold bathrooms. Well, when I went out to see, Johnny and Stephanie for their bathroom, Stephanie wasn't there. Well, she made the appointment. She wanted this to happen. She is the stronger person in this scenario. Johnny doesn't give a shit. He's there to just listen to me talk and say, okay, I'm going to think about it. I'll show her the pictures. That's not what we're fucking doing, Johnny. So what I said was very simple. I said, Johnny, dude, I'm going to take my measurements. I'm going to take some pictures. I'm going to leave you a sample or two, of the material. Just little pieces of like ceramic shit, like nothing crazy. I'm going to have to come back to pick these up. We only get one copy, we only get one of these, but, show it to her. I'm going to come back. Will she be here tomorrow, like around 5:30, 6 o'clock, after work? It'll only take me like 30 minutes because now I have all the measurements and all that stuff. But I'd like to go over some of this because we got to talk about some colors and some shapes. because your bathroom's shaped a little freaking weird, and I want this to look right. Otherwise, you're gonna have issues. Guy was absolutely fine. If they reschedule that appointment and then they're both there, there's an 85% chance you close the sale. 85% every time. And I know that because the company I worked at was big enough, $100 million plus home improvement company. They had all this data. They knew that. And that was part of the strategy. They were like, if it's not the right setup, reschedule and then make the setup happen the way you want it, set the table, make the sale. Always get that follow-up ready. Your follow-up, if you follow up with them enough times and they take enough follow-up meetings, you should have funneled that. It will eventually end in a sale. So it may not happen this meeting, next meeting, or the one after, but the one after it may. Keep that in mind, especially at the bigger solutions that you sell. Enough follow-up meetings that they go to means they're interested enough to purchase. Get out there and sell something.